I don't think Wuthering Waves will be dead on arrival, but I think it will eventually fail, and that's due to a few recurring themes that have already happened with games before. Now, before I start, I'm not really going to be talking about anything pertaining to the game itself or the mechanics, etc., as it's just not something I am knowledgeable in because I do not care for playing the game. I know that sounds harsh, but well, I'll state why. Firstly, when it comes to Genshin Impact, I promise you, I'm no sympathizer. I really do not like this game, but I have to give credit where credit is due. Genshin Impact was the first of its kind after all. Not only that, but it had the COVID buff and has a pretty big player base. This leads into the first reason why I think Wuthering Waves will eventually fail. When you try to make a game that rivals something of reference, it does not work out in the long run. Wuthering Waves will fail because it is trying to be like a new Genshin, and it won't work. The same way in how some new MMOs tried to be the new World of Warcraft, and it doesn't work. Even Final Fantasy XIV was initially trying to be like WoW, but they realized that if they just do their own thing, they will have more success. It's the same thing with Black Desert Online. Nothing can rival it in terms of its battle mechanics, and games that try, fail. Tower of Fantasy is another example of another Genshin clone that, although wasn't dead on arrival, did eventually die pretty badly. The only thing that will kill Genshin is Genshin Impact itself, which it's already on the course to doing. Genshin Impact brought a lot of people into the Gacha world, and it's become so big that when you think of Gacha, one of the first names that will come to your mind is Genshin. In the same way, when you think of RPGs, you think of Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, or the Tales series. Nintendo, with their huge lineup of popular games, Hoyoverse is on track to creating a similar vein and franchise, but within the Gacha genre. It's a new golden standard to a new era of Gacha gaming. It set a premise that a lot of newer Gacha games are adopting, namely its wish system. Girls Frontline 2 has something similar to Genshin's, among other games, but you get the idea. I personally don't really have any interest in playing a game that has the same foundation as Genshin Impact because I think it's a boring dogshit game. It's much better to create a game from your own vision, and that's not to say you can't have inspirations or anything when designing a game, but your foundational gameplay can't be that similar either. Now, there will absolutely be people that don't mind the similarity for these kinds of games, which I actually do think is their target audience, are folks that like and love Genshin Impact. However, when you don't succeed in toppling something, you get crushed. I know it sounds like I am being unfair to this game, but I am just trying to have a realistic outlook on it given what has happened in gaming history as of recent. It'll probably have a good few months, but I don't think it'll last. And if it does, hey, I'll be the first to admit that I was wrong. It's not like I want this game to fail, because for what it's worth, I actually do think the character designs in Wuthering Waves are much better than Genshin's, especially in the main character department. Also, just let me glaze female MC for Wuthering Waves for a little bit, cause goddamn, that design and appearance got me acting up a little bit type shit.
Can I have the boozy, please?
If you're going to create a game that is already an established genre, you really need to innovate. A good example of this, as I'm going to assume mostly Gacha players will be watching this, is Honkai Star Rail. There are hundreds upon hundreds of turn-based games, and while it is a heavily nuanced and saturated genre within role-playing games, it has things that a lot of other turn-based games didn't have due to its nature of being a gacha game as well. You get consistent new characters, new story added consistently, extra content, really likable characters, an interesting story to follow, and the list could go on. Now, this is where I could be wrong about Wuthering Waves, because I don't actually know what sorts of things are in the game completely. This is just me giving my opinion off what I know from playing Genshin Impact. And similar to Wuthering Waves, Genshin players were really against Honkai Star Rail. A lot of people did not think it would succeed, and really disliked the fact that it was turn-based. But we look at it today, and, well, I would say it's definitely one of the best gacha games easily out currently. Now, this could have the same effect as Honkai Star Rail, where people think it's going to fail, but then it actually succeeds. Currently, Wuthering Waves has millions of pre-registrations, but I don't really view this as a reliable metric, as a lot of people were not able to access closed beta testing like content creators and may just want to try the game out for a bit. On top of that, some players might just eventually drop the game because there are other games they deem more important, or they've already invested a lot into Genshin Impact already, and don't really want to do that with another game. Obviously, a whale is just going to whale, that goes without saying, but a vast majority of people do not have that kind of money. So in turn, this circles back to people that are free to play or spend where they can. They could still play Wuthering Waves free to play, just to play it and have no expectations, but in the long run, I don't really see it panning out well for this game. So, what do you guys think will happen to this game? Do you think I'm being a negative Nancy, or do you think Wuthering Waves will find success? Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, really give me your genuine thoughts down below in the comment section. Let's talk about it. And hey, if you didn't like the vid, feel free to dislike it as well. But it is what it is. I'm MjrBloodFox, and I'll see you guys in the next vid. Have a nice day. Toodaloo!